this being one of his favourite spaces to get a vocal from, and that's, I think, by and large due to him using the PVB. The PVB in particular, I think, is one of the best examples of the kinds of tools that you can use to do this. And I think it's been used on pretty much every session that we've had in here that isn't an Atmos mix session. We've had Air and Toddler T and various other producers, and a couple of projects that I can't mention as well. My name is Jack Freegard, and I'm MD of Tileyard X, and we're based here at Tileyard London, and we are a sub-brand of Tileyard. We are a membership-based studio community, and we have a number of production suites and Dolby Atmos mix room, which we're now sat in, a couple of tracking rooms, some podcast studios, multicast studios, photography studios, and we're kind of a new access point into the Tileyard community, and we're aiming to grow this over the next few years. I think one of the most important things and one of the unique things about Tileyard is that you are surrounded by other creatives. I think it's really important to not isolate yourself. Any creative kind of art, whether that's music, art, video, whatever it may be, is a collaborative endeavor. And we aim to foster and support and help people collaborate and grow, and have those little happy accidents where people meet in the corridors, and you never know what might spark off the back of that. So we've had the PVB now in our Atmos suite actually for a couple of months, and one of the reasons we purchased this for this room was because we have quite a lot of VO clients. And although this room is tied into many other studios along the corridor, quite often they're booked. So we needed a space that could, or a product that could both inspire confidence into the performer, let the engineer feel confident that they can get a nice isolated recording with no kind of dodgy decay times or anything like that. Even though this room is quite dry and is set for the Atmos mixing experience, we just needed that extra bit of isolation, and it's worked very well. I think it's been used on pretty much every session that we've had in here that isn't an Atmos mix session, and the feedback we've been getting about the products has been amazing. So recently we've had Roger Sanchez in here finishing off his album. We've had a great rapper called Che Lingo who's been using this booth for all the vocals on his new album, and various other artists and affiliates that are around Tileyard. So we've had Air and Toddler T and various other producers, writers, as I said, VO companies. We've had quite a lot of podcasts recorded in here, and a couple of projects that I can't mention as well. I think that the PVB has been really great as a tool in many of the spaces here at Tileyard because it's modular. We can break it down easily and take it into spaces that we wouldn't normally record vocals in. One of the great things about having a device like this is that quite often if you're in a separate room to your performer, you lose that connection with the performer. And quite a lot of people these days a lot of engineers like to be next to the performer. Quite often that's not ideal because you're getting reflections off the desk or the walls. And this allows you to do that and maintain that close contact and really get the best performance you can out of the talent that's standing in the PVB. Being close to your artist and having something like the PVB that enables you to do that in less desirable rooms is really important. I think that, especially when it comes to getting the performance you need out of the artist, you need to be close. They need to be able to hear you. Even if you're using a good talkback system, having that feeding through to the headphones is not always desirable. You want people to hear the resonance in your voice when you speak to them, and having something that enables you to control room acoustics while you're sat right next to them, getting a great vocal, a great sounding vocal from a good mic, can make all the difference to the quality of your work. I think quite often the most overlooked part of a new artist or producer who's looking to get a professional sound or make their name in the industry is the fact that it doesn't matter what microphone you have. You might have the most expensive microphone in the world. You might have all the gear, the greatest monitors. But if your room sounds awful, there's nothing you can do about that. So tools like the PVB, and the PVB in particular, I think is one of the best examples of the kinds of tools that you can use to do this, will instantly give you an incredible sound. I would very much be inclined to advise people to purchase room control apparatus, if as it were, to before they invest into £2,000 microphones. You'd be surprised the difference you can get just out of a great, really cheap microphones that are great, really. By putting some acoustic treatment in your room. Most people often mistake the fact that they've got not a great sound by identifying it as the microphone, and then we'll buy a new microphone or a new preamp, and they'll be like, well, why doesn't it still sound like what I hear in the charts or what I hear on these great podcast recordings or VO recordings? And it's the room. It's always the room, and that's the same for monitors as well. If you've got great monitors in a bad room, they're not going to sound great. One of our engineers, a guy called Duka Salome, who's he's worked on a lot of the underground and urban and UK hip hop scene and grime. He's worked with people like Fredo to Young Bane. He's remarked on this being one of his favourite spaces to get a vocal from, and that's, I think, by and large due to him using the PVB, because it's just giving him that close focus, a really nice upfront dry sounds that you need for that kind of music. And it works across a variety of genres, but he's remarked on how great a vocal sound he's gotten out of this space, for sure. One of the great things about the PVB is that I think it has very useful applications, not just for vocals, and thinking of things like horns or guitar cabinets, anything that's going to cause a large amount of resonance in your room and give you unwanted kind of reflections that you would normally get in a room that's not well tuned or been well isolated or well, dealt with, shall we say. It's a really versatile tool in that case, because we've used it on horns, and we've noticed already, just like with vocals, how you can get that nice upfront close sound. Obviously, sometimes you want, if you have a great sounding room that's got great decay times, you want to capture some of that. But we don't all have spaces like that, especially if you're working in your home project studio, if you've got a less desirable space that has, should we say, atypical or idiosyncratic sounds to it. It can be a real lifesaver, I think, in those situations.